I suppose now we can actually transition into Johannes's review of the game as well. So, how was your weekend playing the game?
Well, it was probably just 50 hours of sleepless days and nights, but it was well worth it. Man, oh boy, where to start? So, basically, this is the game that everyone wanted Ubisoft to make, but they just didn't. They didn't for some reason. I don't know why, and they'll probably be kicking themselves for not doing it. There is some kind of heightened realism moments. I mean, the whole game looks like a painting. I've never seen anything ever this beautiful. And I've played a lot of games. I've played a lot of games. I've never seen anything that is this picturesque. In terms of graphical fidelity, we're not talking like state-of-the-art, like Crysis back, when Crysis came out kind of stuff. It's not. It's serviceable. The tech is there. But the way that they present it is like I've never seen it before, right?
Would it be correct to say, like, just from what I've seen then, that the scenery isn't so much full of things compared to like Horizon Zero Dawn, where you've got all these skyscrapers and all this color, whereas Tsushima is a little bit more empty spaces, but with the same amount of color and saturation. And
color is perfect. That color is the thing that separates, I would say, this to Horizon Zero Dawn. And it's good that you brought that up, actually, because I would put them quite close together in terms of presentation. Horizon Zero Dawn is still, it's very picturesque, but leans towards more of a technically slightly more advanced, I would say, but less so in the artistic department. They're more sort of realism, whereas Tsushima, it just goes full-blown like, okay, cool, you're going to play a moving painting now. This is what you're going to do. Now, going to animations. I wanted to touch specifically on animations simply because I'm big on like video game animations. Like the biggest pet peeve for me when playing a first-person shooter is having terrible reload animations and gun idle sway, and it's just like it does my head in. Animation doesn't just stop at animation. It goes into sound. It goes into the kinetic kind of feeling that sound gives to certain animations. Why am I talking about this? Well, basically, I don't know if you guys seen the gameplay footage of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they were getting roasted on their animations. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of jankiness between the transition of doing certain actions. So, for example, you're in those Valhalla videos, your main character would go into like a kill sync animation and then suddenly walk back to an idle standing animation, and that completely kills immersion, especially in a third-person game where you're looking at your character pretty much 90% of the time. If you see them teleporting from one position to another, it's just like kills it, right? It's not like that with Tsushima. Like, they obviously cared enough to make sure that every animation flows well from one to the next, to the next, to the next. There's a tiny, minuscule bit of jank, but that's because I would say that's like the sucker punch jank. Like, I don't know, again, have you guys played Infamous?
Yeah.
Yep, Infamous 1, Infamous 2.
Second,
yeah. And I don't know why, but they haven't updated the jump animations since Infamous 1, 2, and the PS4 one, Second Son. But everything else is like perfect. It's smooth. It translates well, and especially when it comes to the combat, it's like, damn, I'm a badass ninja or samurai. Like it's just you're just working through dudes left and right, and it looks believable. The story side of things, I'm not gonna have any spoilers or anything like that, but essentially, you're trying to drive away the Mongols. And things go bad, and you're sort of nursed back to health, and you begin this new kind of road onto claiming back the island. But it's you against an army of the Yuan dynasty at the time. How do you do that? Well, if you're going through my playthrough, you go head first onto duels. Like, screw all the stealth.
Full honor.
Yeah, full honor, like samurai and Western style duels all the way through. The game's good like that. It gives you kind of like two choices all the time, whether you want to tackle certain compounds or get into, you know, fights with bandits in a ninja kind of stealthy kind of way, or it's like Assassin's Creed type, or you go straight ahead, look him in the eye and say, look, fight me, bring it.
At me, bro.
Exactly. And I basically, this playthrough of mine is going to be just that. I've got full samurai armor, just walking up to bases and challenging their best warriors onto duels. Now, the thing with the story side of things and how that balances into story is I haven't come across anything yet that actually has any impact on how the ending will play out. So the choices of whether I go full stealth or full samurai so far, and this is, I guess, one kind of thing that I'll kind of be critical on them about is that they haven't. I can see where they're trying to go with it. They're trying to go, okay, cool. Will you have that kind of dishonorable side of being a ninja overpower your sense of honor? But they don't fully translate that in the story, because the story cinematics play out as
You're playing a role.
as you're playing the role of someone that's kind of going the dishonorable route, even though I haven't. Right. So they don't really count for that choice. And again, it could be, it's probably most likely budget reasons. They can't really have those branching storylines of like a Mass Effect or Dragon Age.
Yeah, I was reading reviews about this. I'm like, how did they miss this opportunity to have like this honor system? Because you interact with your citizens, right?
Yeah.
But there's never a point where they're afraid of you for doing something, or they disagree with an action you took. I mean, you're to protect them, sure, but this dishonorable type of activity didn't exist, right? So you'd think they would react to the same thing you're doing, but it seems like it's a slightly missed opportunity that could have made a really deep game.
It's very linear in that sense. The story-wise, I would say, is a linear story that you can't really deviate from too much. The only way you can deviate from it is through the gameplay choices that you make, either going through full ninja style, putting on a ghost armor and you know, killing forts and castles stealth, or going into it like samurai, challenging everyone in duels. If only they translated that into story. But the cinematics were exactly like 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. It forks right at the end, but that's literally all it is. Yeah. And I think they've done exactly that in this game, which is a very sucker punch thing to do. And I get it. Like, I respect their decision to save budget. And I would definitely say it is purely a budgetary decision. They wanted to make a really solid game. And I
guess you hope so.
You know, and they've succeeded. And they haven't really done anything else on top of that.
Yep.
That's fine. You know. It's not something I'm probably going to replay again, which is why I'm trying to 100% everything now, do all the question marks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a Witcher 3, unfortunately, and I don't think, you know, anyone was really expecting it to be. What I wish they also did was that I wish they added more character to the characters, especially the main character, Jin Sakai. I feel like he is the most vanilla plank of a character that I've ever played as. He's definitely not a Geralt. He's definitely not any protagonist that you've ever really played before in an RPG. Hell, even Alexios from AC Odyssey has more character than this guy. Like,
wow, that's saying a lot.
Yeah. Bayek has more character. Yeah, absolutely. They're trying to tell a story that he's conflicted between whether he wants to go through that sort of full ninja route, doing the thing that he shouldn't be doing, but he's like, oh, I must, I have to, I want to.
Yep.
But they don't go into that as deep as you want it to be.
So you don't feel him going through that turmoil?
No. You'd expect some kind of like vengeance brewing inside him, but
some rage.
He's not. He's too controlled. He's too composed. he's like going out there playing the flute and
Right.
and you know taking skinny dips and like
Touching foxes.
touching foxes and composing haiku.
Yeah.
It's just
Do you have a haiku for us?
I'll pass.
Damn. So we've covered presentation, mechanics. Storyline is probably what.
I would say honestly, like I'm very kind of like disappointed with the emotional weight of the storyline at the moment. So I'm saying probably a 5.
Oh,
That's-
deep.
yeah.
I was expecting a 7.
I was expecting a 7, but okay.
Keep in mind, I would say I'm about halfway through. I'm literally trying to 100% this. So it could.
But
pick
still, if
up-
it's not keeping your interest
It's
that high, then yeah,
really
it's-
like at the moment.
I mean, the good parts of the story should never come at just the end.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we've got it at a 9 at presentation.
Yep.
And then an 8 at mechanics.
And
And a 5 at story.
5 at story.
What is the overall rating? That sounds like a 7 to me.
It does feel like a 7 game.
Okay.
It really does feel. I mean, like
Very beautiful 7.
Sucker Punch really know how to make a really good 7 game. And I feel like they can
King of Sevens.
yeah, they're king of 7s, man.
That's the kind of thing I wanted to have last time when I was saying, but which been more relevant to us as kids, where I would say buy or rent, right? Would you just rent it, just
Get it
play
done, blast it through, yep.
like enjoy the game, or would you buy to own it?
I guess it depends what you wanted this aesthetic, right? You
Yeah,
wanted to own what this encapsulates.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have bought this 100%. Literally, as soon as the chick at EB Games, at Mighty Ape, wherever else that I went to, JB Hi-Fi. Whenever I went there and I said, "Do you guys have this game?" No, but we still have the special edition. I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna buy it." If it wasn't for the fact that this mask was so freaking cool, I probably would have waited for this game to be on discount. I mean, it's a beautiful game, like you said. It's the kind of lore and the kind of storyline and the kind of immersion I've been looking for a long time. We haven't seen a good ninja game in decades. So to wrap it up, essentially Johannes's review of this game, and I suppose the general review from us here at Shadowchat, is that Ghost of Tsushima is just beautiful. It is an amazing game. It's just enchanting. It's beautiful. Very well presented. Unfortunately, lacking a lot in the storyline and the real meat, I suppose, of what this game should have been. A real storytelling experience. Overall, it's a 9 on presentation, fantastic. It is an 8 on mechanics, which is like, it's good. It's a solid 8, which is
It's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great.
Eight's good. It's good. But then it's a 5 for story. So unfortunately, it's a little bit lacking for us here at Shadowchat. Collector's edition is definitely worth it if you guys want to join in and get one as well. If you can,
I was
obviously.
going to say, I don't think there's any left.
If you can, that's for sure. Definitely try to get one. From what Johannes is telling us, it is a solid, very, 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 very good 7. Which means that you should definitely be playing it just when you're available.
It's
Don't
one of
take
those,
leave.
It's one of those PS4 exclusives that you'll be proud to have.